This video is going to go over how to find slope from 2 points. Now before today, we talked about how to find slope from 2 points if they were drawn on a graph. So for example, if I had this graph, I have this line, okay, and what the slope of this line is based on being able to count physically the rise and the run. Today we're going to talk about, well, what do I do when I don't have a graph? So what do I do when I have two ordered pairs? So I have the 0.29 and the 0.67. So we're going to explore that today. So option number 1 is I can graph it. So 2,9 is over 2 and up 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and 6, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7 is here. So I can tell by my picture that my slope should be negative. Okay, but it took me a long time to draw that graph, and maybe there's a faster way in order to find my slope. And there is. So to find my slope, a faster way is to calculate the rise and the run based on this formula. So the top of my formula still is equal to my rise, and the bottom of this formula is still equal to my run. Now, you may look at this formula and you might say to yourself, that's a lot of letters, a lot of numbers, but we're about to make sense of it all. Make sure before you move on that you write down this formula. This formula is going to be the key to solving a lot of these problems for the next couple of assignments. So this is one that we want to have memorized, if not just written down to reference. So let's go ahead and get started. So what does this formula, what are these y and x's? So I'm going to refer back to these points, and I'm also going to encourage you to write down these points in your notes as well. Hey, do this example with me. So remember, ordered pairs, I label x and y. Now both of these are x and y's, because I have 2 points, I need a way to distinguish one from the next. Because this is the first point, I put a little 1 next to the x and the y. It's called a subscript. It's just telling me that this x and y are part of point 1. Since this is point 2, I would put a little 2 next to that x and y, saying, hey, this x and y are from point 2. Okay, so once I have those labeled, what I can do is use my formula to calculate the rise and the run. So I'm going to make a fraction. I'm going to duplicate this problem. I'm going to find y2, and y2, if I come over here to match to my ordered pairs, is this point right here. So 7, I'm going to include the minus sign in my formula, and y1. So 7 minus 9. And that's going to find me my rise in just 1 second. To find the denominator, to find my run, I'm going to take x2. So I'm going to go to my second point, to the x2. And I'm going to replace x2 with 6. I'm going to make sure I write minus, and x1, I find the matching x1, 6 minus 2 is in the denominator. Now, remember, slope is a fraction of rise over run. So I can't have a big subtraction problem, I need to simplify. So I simplify. 7 minus 9 is negative 2, and 6 minus 2 is 4. So my slope is negative 2 over 4, but wait, can it be simplified? If it can, I'm going to make sure I reduce. So yes, negative 2 over 4 simplifies to negative 1 over 2. And if you're not sure if it reduces or not, you have access to the Desmos calculator, negative 2 over 4, and I can see what it simplifies to. It simplifies to negative 1/2. Okay, so you can always use that as a way to simplify. All right, let's look at another example. Let's make sure we get the hang of this. So find the slope between these 2 points. So let's look at this next example. I am going to find the slope by using my slope formula. I'm going to rewrite this. Make sure you refer back to your notes on any homework problems. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Remember, in order to make sense of this, I need to go to my points and label them. This is x, this is y. This is x, this is y. This is my first point, this is my second point. Now that I have them labeled, I can go ahead and plug them into my formula. So here's my fraction bar. I go to my formula, y2. So I'm going to find my y2 and plug it in. So here's y2. Its value is 12. So I plug it in. Minus, I bring down the minus, y1. So minus 10. On the denominator, it says x2. So x is going in the denominator. x2 is 8. So 8 minus, minus sign comes from my formula, 3. And then I simplify. All right, well, what's 12 minus 10? That's 2. What's 8 minus 3? That's 5. I asked myself, can that be simplified? Nope. And so my answer is 2 over 5. All right, let's look at 2 last examples. So it says find the slope between these 2 points. Now, I'm going to go ahead and write them down, my formula. Sorry, writing it backwards. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And I'm going to go ahead and plug these in. So I first have to label them. This is x and the y, 0.1, 0.2. And I find this step really helpful because until I get into the habit of telling my brain what is x1 and what is y1 and all of those things, it's really hard to use the formula. So I really encourage you to label these points right up here. So let's go ahead and solve. So y2, so there's y2. So here's my fraction bar, sorry. y2, so 2 minus, what is y1? So I come over here, y1 is 2. In the denominator, I have x2. So x2 is 7 minus x1, so x1 is 4. I'm going to simplify. 2 minus 2 is 0. 7 minus 4 is 3. Now, 0 over 3 can be simplified. Okay, what number does it simplify to? Now, I'm going to give you a hint. It is not 3. Okay, I have students often tell me, hey, it must be 3. And no, if you take 0 things and divide them into 3 groups, you still have 0 things. But to confirm, if you're ever not sure, you go to your calculator and type it in. 0 over 3. And you can see over here that I get a big 0. So my slope, when I have 0 in the numerator, is 0. All right, last example. So I'm going to again use my formula. So y2, well, let's label them first. x1, y1, because they're from my first point, x2, y2. So I make my fraction. y2 is 10 minus y1 is 8. In the denominator, x2 is 7 minus x1 is 7. I simplify. 10 minus 8 is 2. 7 minus 7 is 0. Now, it's different when the 0 is in the denominator. If I check it in my calculator, you're going to see 2 over 0 is undefined. Okay, that is my slope. Undefined, that whole word. Hey, if I draw a line, remember, slope of straight up and down lines is undefined. That's where that's coming from. Okay, and these 2 points, if I graph them on a plot, over at 7, 8, and 7, 10, okay, notice they make a straight up and down line. All right, so that is slope from 2 points. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.